Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dad's Club, episode number 6. We apologize for, man. We apologize because the last week we didn't actually do anything. It's actually due to an important event, family event for myself. As a lot of people know, me and my wife, we welcome our 4th and 5th kid, 2 beautiful twin girls again. And I can say that again because, the first time we conceived and we had twins, the identical twins. And then we went for the singleton, and then we went for another one. And then God said, nope, I'm going to give you 4 and 5. So, so we're happy to be the parent of these beautiful girls, Abigail and Elizabeth. And at the same time, it's a challenging time for me and my wife, mostly for my wife. And I was actually telling her, I totally respect and I admired the way she's handling all this stuff because, not sleeping and stuff like that. They're just, it takes a toll on you, and it's a different ballgame.
Yeah. Healing, no sleeping, like all that, right? Team no sleep. I remember that.
I just literally told her, I'm doing the easy part. I'm helping you. I'm trying to change diapers. I go drop off school. The girls, I go drop off the girls at school and, stay with Esme and try to entertain Esme. I make the meals and stuff like that. That's the easy part, to be honest with you. And I said, you know what? I appreciate what you're doing, and I love the way you're loving our family, and this is the way it's shown. But again, everyone who's watching us, thank you for watching again. This is episode 6. My name is Pablo. John is on the other side, and as you guys can tell, we are recording this as a video conference because because of some reasons of health reasons and stuff like that, we're just trying to keep the girls away from everybody for at least a month or 2, and that's understandable. But again, thank you for your support and all the social media accounts and stuff that are making this podcast valuable for a lot of people. But we're just gonna start with, hey bro, how you doing? How you been? What's new?
I've been good. Actually, from the last episode, I got my sister faithfully watches the Dad's Club. Jen, shout out to Jen. Oh, my other sister Olivia also watches, but she's like, I noticed you've been coughing a lot. I noticed you've been talking about your asthma and all this. So she's like, this is what I've been using. This is what I've been talking to my doctors about. So like, I did all that. I got the strong stuff, bro.
I can
got the new inhaler. I can breathe. I'm feeling a lot better. So thank you, Jesus. I'm feeling way better. But no, just, grinding, doing the worship pastor thing, holding up the end where you're missing. If you guys don't know, we actually do work together at our church. Pablo's our sound engineer there, and just holding it down. And Judah's getting older and older every single day, and keeping up with him. Yesterday was a great day. We had a great day yesterday. We had a little father-son outing. He went to this is how you know you're getting old. We went to the chiropractor together.
Because that is true. Actually, now that you mentioned that, we took Isabel and Juliana when they were like maybe a year or 2 years old, and the guy cracked their back. So it's a thing.
Yeah. Well, he didn't offer to do Judah, but he's got a little toy set up in the play area in the corner, and he's just watching me get cracked. I'm like, that's great. And Judah just looking at me like, And yeah, no, but and then we did that and got like smoothies, and it was just a great time. No, I
which
just
is
love.
needed. It's needed. Actually, that's one of the things that I'm trying to do with Esme. The lack of sleep is just taking a toll on me and my body. But at the same time, like, I gotta get up. I gotta do something with Esme because I cannot have Esme watching Disney Plus
All
for
day,
all day
yeah.
long. So we went yesterday to the park, and I was just like, I she was so happy, and it's the first day actually in the Bay Area that
Yeah.
we had the sun out.
Oh, it's
So
been
it's been
raining, snowing, all
horrible.
that.
Believe it or not, whoever's watching this, whatever you are, in the Bay Area, we have snow. We
We
have
had
snow
snow. Hmm.
right here in the Berkeley Hills, and the skyline, and oh my gosh, it's
Yeah, I'm
it's
in Contra Costa. You can see it all over like the mountains. It's so weird. It feels like we're like in some like
like
Denver or
North
something. It's like,
Dakota.
yeah, it's just weird. We're just downtown, and then we look up like at the mountains areas. There's snow. I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Jesus is coming
Anyway,
soon.
hey, oh my gosh, like, yeah, the climate change is amazing, and you can tell. I don't remember, actually. It was maybe 10 years ago when I remember in the Livermore. Whoever knows the area, the Livermore Mountains, there was a lot of snow. So I mean, that was the last time we had snow. Since then, it's like the drought, no water, and all of a sudden it's like boom, you
Yeah,
got all the water that you
floodgates.
can just flood it.
Yeah, and when you have a dog, it's not great either.
How do you,
Because
how do you do that?
I try to keep him under my umbrella, but this guy wants to. He does so. He does all right on the leash, and a lot of it's really my fault. And Jamie, don't say nothing. I take him off the leash most of the time because I trust him. I trust him. He's not gonna do nothing. He's just gonna go potty. He just do whatever he wants. But
I mean,
when it's raining, we have towels like by the door. We've got wipes, all the whole thing. It's the worst. Wet dog is
but I
it's not
mean, you're
cool.
talking about not being on the leash. I mean, Winston is not a pit bull, so he's not gonna
I,
attack anybody. He's just, I think most of the time he's afraid of me all the time anyway. But
He's for everybody, but he acts tough. But yeah, no, we keep towels by the door because wet dog in the house is leads to a smelly situation. It's not cool.
well, as everybody's catching up, and I'm trying to catch up with sleep again, as
Team
a
no sleep.
father, I think actually I was talking to you this about this. Sorry, as a dad, I think I was reflecting in one of the nights around 2 o'clock in the morning when I was changing diapers. I was like, I mean, I forgot how difficult it was. I think it's actually a little bit easier for me and Maggie this time, but it still actually takes a big toll on our bodies. But just being able to Maggie to breastfeed the babies every 2 hours, and like they're like little clocks. They just at two hours 1:59. They're like already like sucking their thumbs, or
On
they're
the
already
dot.
telling you. And very vocal. They are very vocal, and I'm gonna
Sheesh.
I'll upload some pictures later so you guys can see the babies. But again, thank you everybody for sticking with us, and let's talk about something, bro. Let's talk about not only life, but I think, like I said, we start with fatherhood and the importance, not the important, but it's the importance in being not only a dad, but this means to be a servant, right? Because
Right.
as you guys can tell, and me and John, we are serving our families, and I think in my culture, the Hispanic culture, the dad plays a role where he goes to work and he just comes home after work and he sits down, watch TV, and
Checks
he
out.
does anything else, right? I've seen it. Not my dad wasn't like that. He was the totally opposite. I think that's one of the things that I appreciate my dad in that sense, that he was trying to be with us as much as he could, and but at the same time, he was not expecting my mom to cook. He was one of the first ones to say, hey, is there anything to eat? Let me start cooking, or let me just go get something. He was very uh ready to work, ready just to serve. And that's one of the things that we as parents, not only if you're a Christian or not, you're gonna serve. You have to serve as long as you have kids. If your wife goes through this, surgery, a major surgery, which is C-section. In my case, my wife went through that 3 times with all 5 of our girls, and it's time for you to serve. It's time for you to be at home, and I'm thankful in this season of my life that I'm able to be at home with my wife. And she was telling me that I just try to talk to her as much as I can and say, "Hey, I appreciate you. I just want to acknowledge the work that you're doing. It's amazing. I have no words on how to repay what you're doing because it's amazing. It is amazing."
Yeah. It's
And
selfless. Yeah.
yeah, and the list I can do is just get out with you, change the diapers, and then get ready. Get the babies ready for you, and then wake up, go drop off the rest of the kids at school, or stay with Esme at home, cook whatever you need. I'm here. I'm here for you. And being in that spirit, I think a lot of people have this mentality. A lot of men have this mentality is like, no, I'm the dad. You gotta serve me. And
Hmm.
I think that's a macho way to just not acknowledge our wives, not acknowledge our partners. And I mean, I'm no wonder why marriages go through the tough times because the man doesn't want to acknowledge that part. They're like, yes, we got to recognize that we are here for our wives, but at the same time, that we are here to serve our kids. We are here to serve our families, and our kids are going to see that. I think Judah sees that in you as well. So, but yeah, that's one of the things I want to keep on talking about it. Fatherhood, being as a servant, right?
Yeah.
So, do you have anything to say?
Well, I mean, we gotta break down kind of what it even means, because using the word servant is a little.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a biblical term mostly. I mean, we don't really hear that. We don't be like at a restaurant and be like, servant, servant, I need some water, servant. We don't use that term, right? And so when it comes to the term serve, of course, it derives from the word serve, and so it's what does that even mean? And I definitely want to say pose that to you, but what it means to me is being served. You hit points of being selfless, of not thinking of yourself but of thinking others, and whatever stage your life in, or whatever stage of life that you're in, you're in a servant or serving type of position, whether you know it or not. Whether you're a college student, you
Yeah.
are, you're kind of, yeah, you're serving yourself. You have to serve your teachers, papers, things like that. You have, whether you're at work, you have a boss that you have that has expectations, and you have to help the company. You have to help, your career. There's
Yeah,
just so
revenue.
many things. Yeah, all those things, and so, when it comes to that, there's a lot of obligated servanthood, where you're like, these are just things I have to do. So as a dad, you feel, most of you should, all of you should feel obligated to say, oh yeah,
Yeah.
the kids are probably hungry and mom's not around. Not that, we, in our house, we share responsibilities like that, and so I see this morning Judah woke up and he's just like, I want to watch a show, but I'm like,
Nope.
responsibility, the responsible thing to do is, let's get you some food. Let's talk about the day first. But going, and he's only 2. He's not going to go into the pantry. He's not going to go in the refrigerator, get his own bowl. He's learning those things, but I have to serve him. And so if I don't do those things, he's going to die. Those are like the natural progression, right? If
Right.
he's going to starve, he's going to get sick, he'll die. And then there are things that, yeah, we don't have to do, but it's, if you want to keep your marriage, if you want to keep the relationship you're in, you got to serve, you got
Like
to,
you said it to create the revenue. The only way to create revenue is to pour into the business.
yep.
important to your marriage is going to create peace, is going to create being stable. It's going to create some sort of a harmony in your family. That's the way I see it.
Right.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah, and so, you know, we're gonna talk. Yeah, if we're talking about this subject, being a servant, being a servant father. Yeah, what does that even look like? What does that mean? I mean, what's your definition, Pablo? What do you define servanthood as?
Well, servant leadership, you're not a good leader if you don't know how to serve. You're not a good leader
Mm,
if you don't know how to lay down your life for your people, right?
wow, that's good.
I think that this is one of the things that I've learned through my years on uh, as a manager, also. But at the same time, like I went through so many uh, leadership trainings and stuff like that. Even though the company that I used to work for is not Christian, they always use the term servanthood for being a leader because it's essential for people to see that you are not there to micromanage people and to um, tell them what to do. Instead of that, you show them what to do. And then, probably you don't have the skills that your other people have, but at the same time, you create a plan for that people. You create a plan
Hmm.
for that person if you are lacking numbers, etc. Right? But I think being a dad it's a leader, and in you said something. It depends on the season you at and wherever you are right now in your life and in the season you live in with your family, your wife. I think the need of being a leader is going to take over where's the need at. Probably your kids are teenagers. Probably your kids are, like in my case, they're little kids. I got 6 year olds, three, and newborn, right?
Mm,
So every 3 years has a different stage. So I have to be able to compile with all the stuff that my 6 year olds know what to do and I ask them to do, but at the same time I show them what to do. Like, hey, go brush your teeth in the morning. Hey, let's start our routine this morning. Um, get your vitamins, get this and that and that. They already know what to do, but at the same time, my 3 year old is actually watching me. And I actually was talking to Maggie about this because the way you serve people, maybe it doesn't look the way you think it's going to be. And I'm saying this because every person has a different stage in their lives. Um, as a father, again, you go through different stages. Probably, if you're watching this, if you have teenagers, if you have like not even teenagers, they're already adults, right? They have the different stages. And you as a father, you have to be able to say, okay, I I get it. I get it. You're not a kid anymore, or you're not a baby anymore. I'm gonna treat you as an adult. And I think
hmm.
that having that respect for your kids, having that respect and approach, it's gonna create an opportunity for you to say and enter in the life of your kids. To be honest with you, because if you just tell them, what to do, what good is what good you're gonna actually just do in their lives. They just want to know you as a dictator. They're just
Hmm.
gonna know you as a person who just tells me what to do in the morning and that's it. You don't love me, you don't talk to me, you don't ask me questions of how my day was. You don't actually have the time to sit down with me and talk live and speak live into my own path, right?
Yeah.
And
Well,
I've seen that.
on the flip side of that is, you talked about just telling people what to do, not showing people how to do it. Then you get frustrated. So there's this whole thing of, yeah, you need to serve by showing, by showing this is how you do this. This is by leading it by example, by doing it, by being the example. Because as a dad, I have to show, I have to show Judah what it's like to keep your emotions under control. This is how you're going to handle like if a situation happens like this is how dad's going to do it. And if it's like I'm if I'm like yesterday, I got cut off on the road, and me and Juju were in the car, and I was like, the F word just came right to the front of my mouth, and I was like, nope, Judah's right there. Judah's right there, and and he sees the way that I'm, dealing with certain things, or
Yeah.
he sees the way, I can't. I'll probably remember the exact example, but there was something Judah did this week that like only he knew to do because he saw me do it. I forget what it was, but anyhow, I'll get to that. But yeah, just kind of piggybacking on what you're saying of, it takes, in order to really be, a leader, which is where we're at, you got to serve. And in order to serve, like, yeah, you have to do it, lead by example, and do it right.
And I think we've seen it so many times, but to me, the most important thing is how you respond to pressure as a leader. How do you respond to pressure as a dad? And people are gonna see the way you respond, and you want respect from people.
Mm-hmm.
Just know how to react when pressure comes to your life,
Hmm.
because that way you're gonna show people how to lead their lives. Because if I freak out and start actually yelling and yelling and yelling, and that's one of the things that we talked about this in different episodes, but I've been learning more and more. I just tone my voice down because I can be mean, or my voice can actually just hurt, and my voice can actually just my tone can hurt my daughters, and at the same time, and they actually been pretty vocal about it and say, "Hey, Dad, Papi," they call me Papi. You hurt me. I feel hurt. I was like, okay, it was not my intention. I was just trying to get your attention and say, focus, focus,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then, okay, I think because in that moment was pressure for me. Now they say, okay, how are you going to respond to this? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And in all reality, our kids are going to literally press our buttons.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you can keep saying sorry for how you responded, but if you keep reacting that way, that
What do
sorry,
you
and
expect?
they're gonna hear you say sorry, but is that like valid anymore? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I use sorry, like for reals. I use sorry
Yeah.
because I haven't seen any changes.
Right.
So one of the things as a leader also is how do you react? Like I said, how do you react to pressure? But are you gonna make the changes to not go into that path again?
Right.
Because you could, like you said it. You can say sorry all the time. You can actually be apologetic, but probably you're not gonna change the way you're thinking. You're gonna keep on leading your way, or you're gonna keep on leading people the way you want it. But instead of that, I think the Bible is pretty clear in the sense that we have to be servants. And the way to be a servant, it's actually getting to the culture, getting to have a way into your life. How we gonna get into your life? It's just being able to speak to your life in that sense, speak life into everybody's life, right? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, to me, again, being a father, it's gonna mean to me, fatherhood, it means leadership. And my wife actually just she was telling me like, I don't know how you're gonna respond because I know you, I know you. In all reality, like I've been learning all these years how to react in a lot of stuff because pressure is gonna come, pressure is coming, and anyway, and if you have a life, if you have a job, if you have a marriage, if you have kids, pressure is coming your way. It's how you're gonna handle pressure, and
Yeah.
I think that's important for a lot of people to, excuse me, to understand how to react, uh, uh, how to react as a dad, how to react as a man in life, how to react because we all have our difficulties, we all have our issues, but I think the main point of this subject is reacting is not is reacting the same way you've been doing it is gonna make things worse or it's gonna make things better.
Mm.
So I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, Pablo, I have a question in terms of, we're talking about what it means, or what being a servant father means, but let's talk about the practical. Let's talk
Yeah.
about like So what does that mean? How do we do it? How do we serve? Whether you're a father, whether you're professional, whatever. How do you serve?
I, one of the things is you try to be you make yourself useful in the sense that if you do your job, a lot of people have this mentality, and I've learned that through the years because it's just like I'm gonna do my job, I'm gonna do my job description, and that's it. I'm not gonna do anything else. I'm just gonna do whatever my boss told me to do, and that's it. Or am I available to help you to get things out of the road, right? Just an example.
So going above and
Go above and
beyond.
beyond. Yeah, go above and beyond. That's the only way to help people because how people is gonna see our reaction is when we. I mean, the Bible even says it. Like people is gonna know is gonna know you guys the way you guys love each other, right? So if I love
Hmm.
you, my way to love you it's to serve you, to help you, to even like I said, in this season of my life, uh, should I talk about it? All right, so this is a tough season for not. I don't consider it actually a tough season because God is with us. God is with me. I know that. For a lot of people, it would probably be a tough season, but in January 20th, I actually was cut off. Was laid off by my job, and it was a tough day for me. I will say because that was the first day we recorded the Dad's Club episode number one, and I actually mentioned in the beginning of the episode how I was dealing with something, but I have to be strong. And I mean, you came to the house and literally just we cried. We just say, bro, this happened, right? And being able to work for my company, or the company that I worked for almost 12 years now. I mean, it was more. It was hard. It was hard to say goodbye to these people because they've been part of my life for 12 years, and but at the same time, um, while I was sitting down, and when my ex boss called me and he told me, "Hey, we're cutting people off," and I thought they were gonna get rid of employees, not management, right? And then when he started reading the email, the release email to me, I was like, "Wait, are
Okay.
you saying that I'm gonna laid off? I'm gonna get laid off?" And he's like, "Yes, I'm sorry." I mean, his voice cut off. You can tell he was having a hard time to explain it because he was not very direct. And I was like, "Hey, listen, I understand, I get it. Let me just process this." And this happened while I was setting up cameras, cables, everything to record That's Club episode number one. With that being said, I sit down and I ask God, is like, okay, I ask you, and I told you this when you got to the house that day. I asked God, is like, hey, I'm here, I'm available. What do you want me to do? And I know God told me to do and start this podcast back in March. I didn't do it because I was busy. I was doing a lot of stuff for my company. I was doing a lot of stuff for the company that I worked for 12 years. And I was busy and I was tired, right? I have my life right here. And I was like, okay, I can't do this. It's just too much. But at the same time, like I want to be able to serve people. I want to be able to do the call that you're calling me to do, God. And I say, God, do your will and take anything that is in my way to serve you.
Dangerous
Well,
prayers, bro.
well, he did. January 20th. That was my last day at uh, DirecTV, and I had to say goodbye, and they say goodbye to me, and they're just like we went different ways, right? And this is my weight right now. But that being said, I'm not begging for anything. I'm not begging. I've been blessed, more than blessed, and God is good and God is faithful. The only thing, and I'm actually learning more and more and more, is that God is my provider in this season. How are you going to learn something if you're not going through something? How are you going to have peace if you don't have war before? How are you going to have stability if you haven't been shaken?
Yeah.
In the way my wife took this when I told her that I was getting laid off is that Uh, she cried a little bit. I'm not gonna say I cried too because it just a shock, right? 12 years, more than 12 years of my life. You actually were part of the company at some point, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I literally had all my youth right there. And it was a good time. I learned a lot of stuff, leadership. I was a manager over there. The time they spent in people, I learned things that probably I was not going to learn at church. That
Yeah.
God was allowing me to learn. And one of the things that I learned over there is being a servant. To be honest with you, it's one thing. One of the things. One I have more things, but being a servant, um, being loyal,
Mm.
and because in this era, let's just be honest, a lot of kids, they just go from job to job to job to job to job to job to job, and when it comes down to get another job, it's like, why do you have so many jobs in your resume?
Mm.
Are you not loyal? Are you not stable? And it just goes down to stability, right? Well, long story short, you know the story, John. And I said, God, what do you want me to do? And I felt God telling me, what do you have in your hand? And I just turned around and I saw the cameras, I saw the mics, and it was like, I have this. And he's like, well, not this, but I have this. This is what I'm setting up right now. It was such a weird moment because while I was preparing and setting up for the podcast, I was literally, God was telling me, okay, I'm gonna take everything away and just get rid of it and move it out of your way so you can
Yeah.
actually focus on this.
Well,
And it
I
was
mean, this sort of news could be super devastating for anybody. You know, it
of
could be
course.
like it could be this is considered a setback, but you know, for you, you know, you can talk about how this could how you choose not to hinder you from serving because this podcast, if you know, this is a labor of love from both of us. This is us serving other dads. You know, this
Yeah.
isn't to say, "Yep, I'm a dad. I got it all together." You know, we're not at all saying that in this podcast whatsoever. But
We're far away from that.
my brother, right now is being very vulnerable. This is a very vulnerable point, but you know, this is us serving you. And so talk about how, you know, a setback like that could have hindered you or could have stopped you from moving forward with this.
Well, I said it right. As how are you gonna react to pressure?
Yeah.
This is a lot of pressure because I'm not only actually got laid off, I have five kids and a wife, and I have to pay rent, and I have to provide, and I have to do this stuff. So how are
All the
you gonna do that?
things.
Right, all things. It's just a big, like you said, setback. It's a big roadblock in the way, because I, I'll be honest with you. If it wasn't for my relationship with God, I will be
Hmm.
going crazy right now. And like I said,
Yeah, you could have freaked out. You could have gone the other the
yeah,
gone on all the job search pages and been like, you know, I mean, I'm sure you're
I
doing
am.
whatever you,
I am.
yeah,
I am. Yeah.
of
But at
course,
this point in my life,
of
it's like I
course.
can't, because it's either I go back to work or I help my wife. And
Hmm.
if I go back to work, who's gonna stay here with my wife?
Yeah.
So,
Hmm. The Lord.
but
Yeah.
like, let me just put it this
Yeah.
way:
Yeah.
God is good. If you don't believe in God, well, let me just tell you, God is real. God is real, and He's the only one who can actually sustain me right now in this season of my life.
Come
Because
on.
if it wasn't for my, again, I was raised in church. I've
Mm.
been in church my whole life. I heard about God my whole life. But when it was when I started my good real relationship, it was when I was 25, 24. And that was actually the moment that I literally just came to this country and started actually going through Bible college and stuff like that. And if it was at that moment, and I said it again because my parents couldn't actually support me, it was the grace of God who supported me in that season of my life, and it was paid off. I'm so thankful that Pastor Violet Kitely was the one helping me a lot, and I'm so
Hmm.
thankful for her family who supported me and saw something in me. So I want to repay. I want to pay back by serving others, and I think
Yeah.
that was the best way. Knowing Pastor Violet Kitely, uh, it was me serving others was going to be the best way to pay back.
Yeah.
And I'm this is the only way. This is the only way I can right now.
Hmm.
I'm able to say I'm okay. I can sleep at night. I mean, right now I can't that much because we have the two girls. But before that, knowing God and knowing that God is my provider, and it's gonna sound weird for a lot of people. It's like, how's it gonna God be your provider? He's not giving you anything. Like, he is. Let me tell you that he is. He's putting money in my account right now
Hmm.
because if I knew God and I know his character, I know he's not going to freak out. Psalm says, patiently I waited in God and he responded to me. But there's a word right there. It says patience.
Mm,
Let me
that's
just
good.
elaborate this, right? So if you go, I had this back in November, everybody got sick in my house, right? Everybody got sick. Me, I took two of my girls to the emergency room because they had, a bad cough. And when you go to the emergency room, you go and they weigh the kid and they just go read your vitals and just sign and everything. Just like you got to sign papers, you got to do all this stuff, and then they check you out and then they tell you go sit down and wait for the doctor while you see your kid going through like excruciating actually pain, or I don't know what she was feeling, but I know she was not feeling okay, one of them, right? And I learned the waiting in God has to be in a waiting list. You have to be in a waiting list. You have to be in a waiting room. You have to be in a hospital waiting to see the doctor. And I know God is going to come through. I know God is coming through for a lot of people. I know God is going to do something in your life. It's, again, I think the main word for this podcast today is how do you react to pressure?
Mm,
How do you react to pressure? I think God is
yeah.
seeing that. And I can tell you, I have peace. And the most important thing for a lot of men, a lot of dads out there, if you don't have peace, and if your wife doesn't have peace too, you're not gonna have peace because you can see your wife's face, reactions, and stuff like that. I can tell you, truly, I can say, my wife and I, we have peace in this stage of our lives. All
Yeah.
our needs are met. Everything we need and more, it's met by God. That's the only person who can actually just help us right now. But how are you gonna react? How Pablo is reacting to this season?
Yeah.
How John is gonna react? Yeah.
And if Pablo chose to
Oh, I
just
can
shut
go.
down, if he chose to shut down, if he chose to, then there would be none of this. There would be no. And so, uh, just as you were talking, I just felt like, yeah, exactly. How are we reacting? And if your response is okay, this is a tough season. This is what's in front of me. Um, if your reaction is I'm just going to stop, then there's somebody that you're supposed to be touching who's not going to be affected. There's somebody that you're supposed to be serving that will not get that. And I think about, I don't want to get too specific, but this Sunday, well, we'll get pretty specific if you know what church we go to. Um, anyhow, I'll just say, there's, and I think it goes along with the sermon that kind of went out on Sunday. But my father-in-law Tom, probably, I don't know, getting him on the podcast might be a little weird, but um, we talk about kind of you want to talk about hardship and kind of reactions to life and what comes your way.
Yeah.
I want to first start by saying this. He sang a song. He sang a song on Sunday at our church, and the reaction, and I think God using my father-in-law through song and through his gift is what people needed in that time and in that specific setting. But I told him, I said, your gift was needed today for people. And if we don't, and I'm saying that because if we don't make ourselves available, if we allow our setbacks, if we allow our frustrations, if we allow the things that have hurt us or caused frustration or whatever it is to cause us to be like, nope, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do, if we,
I have my own problems. I'm just gonna shut down.
yeah,
I have a lot of issues. I don't want to serve anybody. I don't want to help anybody. Yeah.
so that's where this whole theme of this is way bigger than you. This is way bigger than the things that's currently like in front of you. This is way bigger than that. And so, I want to encourage whoever's watching today. Life's not going to get any easier.
No.
That's the truth. Yeah, there'll be pockets of, you'll have your seasons where it's like, wow, that was a great season.
Abundance.
Man, this was a tough season. If I chose to stay on the path that I was on after my parents passed, after my dad passed,
Yeah.
after my mom passed, if I chose to stay where I was at and not move forward, there wouldn't be people that I'd be pouring into right now. There wouldn't be people. And so all that to say, there's a purpose in the things that you go through. There's a purpose in your setbacks. There's a purpose in that. And I think it all revolves around the serving aspect, because if you talk about the greatest example, we're always going to talk about Jesus.
Of course.
God sent Jesus to the earth. He didn't have to die. He didn't have to do anything, but he came and served. Jesus came to serve. He like literally did things for people who didn't deserve it. They didn't deserve any of the miracles, any of the raising people from the dead. Nobody deserved any of it. And so when we talk about serving, we have to talk about, we want to talk about resources and ways to get better. Read the Bible. All of those examples of Jesus serving people and all the miracles, they're not just like, hey, I'm Jesus, I do fancy parlor tricks. No, he is like,
It was always
I'm
back to
literally
the Father.
showing you, yeah, I'm literally showing you the example of how to serve others. Like, this is the prime example. He's not saying go hang yourself on a cross and die for somebody. He's not saying that. I mean, if you have to, what's that verse? John 15. I got it. I got it right here. John 15:9. This is my commandment, literally from Jesus, that you love one another as I have loved you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you. So there's a lot to unpack in just that one verse, but one, it's commanded that we serve others.
Yeah.
It's like,
I
and then
think
two,
Yeah. Sorry.
yeah, no. And so two, like, there's no greater love than like laying your life down. Not saying like you got to go and throw yourself in front of a bullet for somebody, but to lay your life down, to say like, my life is like not more important than yours, and then three, you are my friends if you do what I command you to do. So that's like, we're friends with Jesus because we're serving.
Well,
So-
I think it's actually speaking about relationship. You are my friends if you do what I ask you to do. So what is he requiring us to do? Right? That's the requirement for Jesus to be part of have a relationship with Jesus is have a humble heart. Recognize that you don't have everything together. You don't got anything in control. Recognize that. That's number one. As a man, as a father, as a husband, as a teenager, maybe you're watching this, you got no control in your life, and life is gonna literally hit you in the face at some point if you don't have a relationship with God, if you don't have a relationship with Jesus. So the only way to have a friendship, a relationship, true relationship with God is knowing the way he responds to pressure. Because you can see in the feeding of the 5,000, he knew he didn't have any food. He knew there was no food available, and they were gonna stay with him for the whole time being over there. But he asked the question, "What do you have? Do you have any food?" And it's just like, "Yeah, this is what I have." I think that's exactly what I felt when January 20th when I got laid off, and God told me, he was like, "What do you have available?" I was like,
What you got?
I got what you got. Yeah, what you got? I was like, well, I got this, and this. Okay, make it work. You got it.
Let's go.
Just you have the option, right? So
That's so
again,
good.
if you actually have a knowledge of Jesus, you have to know that he requires a relationship with you. The only way to have a relationship with God is to recognize that you don't have nothing under your control. Simple as that. Simple as that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell about me right now. I have nothing in control. The only thing in control is my emotions. I can control the way I think. I can control the way I'm gonna say. I'm gonna speak. Am I gonna be mean to my daughters because I got laid off? I'm gonna be mean to my wife because I'm going through something emotionally right now when I know that she's going through an emotionally changing waves up and down,
That's
up
good.
and down. Can I just control myself?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the fruit of the spirits, right? Of the spirit, not the spirits. It's spirit, the Holy Spirit. The one of the
Yeah.
fruit of the spirit is that you have self-control. You have love. You have to love the season you at. God has different seasons in our in the natural. We got spring, summer, fall, winter, and every single season we need something different. We do
That's
something
right.
different, right? So can we just allow God to work in our lives? Can we just allow God, Jesus, to work and have control in our lives?
Well, yeah. Amen. That's it. Mike, if this wasn't on the mount, I would drop it. Um, no, this is great. I mean, yeah. I
You tell
mean,
me. Let me ask you something.
yeah, yeah,
How did you? I know you went through a tough time because I saw you. You went through a tough season when you lost your mom. I didn't see you when you lost your excuse me, your dad, but I saw you when you lost your mom, and
yeah.
I cannot imagine what you went through. But what? How do you control? How do you got out of that stage? Because I know you have to grieve. You have to grieve your mom. You
Yeah.
have to go through a grieving season, and probably you're still grieving. And if it is, like said, I know you give it to Jesus, and He has control of that. And
Yeah.
otherwise, you couldn't actually just continue with it with life. But how do you?
Well,
How
well, I know now. I mean, you go through certain things with lots of questions, and having lost my dad, you learn. You get a little you get a little more familiar with grief, and I didn't really come to the understanding that grief is made by God. And so how I responded, I mean, I was very fortunate with having who I had around me when my mom passed. Was I had Jamie, who was my wife, who's yeah, she was my rock. She was the one who was able
lift you
to
up?
lift me up, to be there for not just me but for my family, for to be she made herself. And I think she passed around this, yeah, it was like Jamie's birthday weekend. I had to go, I had to leave for, because she was doing her liver treatments and stuff in Jacksonville, Florida. And so I had to fly out there on Jamie's like birthday weekend. But Jamie, like the whole time, just like, do what you gotta do, just totally supportive, my rock, whatever. She was just that. She was exactly what I needed. And so, the Lord knows what we need in the seasons of, in those hard times, in those seasons of hard times. He knows
Mm,
exactly what we need. And so when it came to how I responded, yeah, He knew that He made me who I am. How He knew that it would be hard. He knew that I would have a hard time. Kind of, not that I wasn't like, I quit, I don't want to do anything. I was just,
but it could happen to other people.
it could happen. Yeah. And so my response was, more so in remembering who my mom was. She was an amazing servant. She
Mm,
served my parents served the church faithfully. They, but more important than that, they serve their families. My
Mm.
mom, when I think about like all the sacrifices that she made growing up, all the late days and hours, and seeing them
Yeah.
like after 7 o'clock every day, like, because they're out grinding, doing what they could so that we'd have a house, so that we'd have everything that we needed.
Mm.
And so, when we talk about that, that made me then recollect, man, she did so much. She did, and so recognizing, the type of servant that she was, what she did to serve us as children. Try not to keeping it together here. Recognizing the things, you come into remembrance of those things, and you could be in that mindset of, well, I could be mad at God because he took another one of my family members, and you could form that, but it's all about coming in remembrance of understanding, like, of what the Lord is doing in that time and season. Loss is not an easy season to go through.
No.
When you lose somebody, it's you don't know what to do. It's and that's what the grief is. You run into a myriad of emotions. You get mad, you get sad. It's a roller coaster. It's waves,
Right.
ups and downs. And so, how you navigate that, you need a firm foundation. You need something
Yes.
that keeps you centered. And what centers all those emotions, all of those memories, all the things that help me remember like what my mom was about and who. Woo, come on. Um, all the things, that help you remember what she's about is all Jesus.
Mm.
It all comes back to how the Lord like turned my whole family around by bringing us to our church Shiloh, and my dad's testimony of his deliverance from alcoholism and drugs. How everything just changed once Jesus came into the picture. And so when you go through those things, it's so hard to look past, like, oh my gosh, this was difficult. This is the hardest season of my life. But then, like, when you have that relationship with God, for one, and then you remember where Jesus was in all of it, not just like,
Yeah.
yeah, in all of it, you start to remember, okay, yeah, I can do it. I could keep going. I can move forward. I could do it the way she did it, and she would want me to do it better. So that pushes me even closer to a relationship with Jesus, because I want to know what she knew that pushed her to keep going, that pushed her to keep grinding, And so, yeah.
I think I mean I'm getting emotional for you, but at the same time it's like I'm remembering the I think you're just the this season of my life that I lost my grandma, and which is last year in November she went with the Lord,
Yeah.
and the last thing she did is just bless my daughters, the last ones, not only
Mm,
the five of them, but especially the last ones, because she was not gonna meet him. And then something special before she died is that I told her that one of the babies was gonna carry her name, Abigail,
mm,
and
that's
she started
great.
crying. And then, like, say you telling me you're, I'm getting emotional for you because I cannot imagine what you're going through. You went through, but you know the loss of something, maybe the loss of somebody, maybe the loss of your job, maybe the loss of, I don't know, a friendship. Many times you said, well, you said something, but I want to elaborate in this, because if we ask God for help, He's gonna send people to help us. I mean, he can, the first thing He's gonna send is the Holy Spirit. If you actually ask for the Holy Spirit, He's gonna come. He's gonna give you peace. But the way He's gonna make you things make things work in your life is by sending people your way to help you out and lift you up. You said that Jamie
Yeah,
was one of the people who helped you, one of the most important people that helped you
absolutely.
to
Yeah.
lift you up, because you need encouragement, because you need you need somebody who talk life into you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we shut people down because we live in this pain, we live in this grievance, we live and we just stay in there. We shut everybody's literally conversation. Maybe we shut your parents, we shut you shut your you mean your own wife because you want to live in that pain. So
Mm-hmm.
if you ask for help, why do you ask for help if God is actually sending you help?
Right.
Number one. Number two, recognize that you are you are in pain. Recognize that you need to be vulnerable to move forward. And that's
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I see you did in your life. And I applaud and I celebrate with you and celebrate your mom's life because I met her once and she was a lovely lady. And and just the way she pushed through and overcame maybe her own self just to move forward and give you food and put food in your table. I think it's a very tough thing when you say like, you know what, I lost my husband, now it's me, now I gotta go push through. I even though I'm going through, I cry in the middle of the night because I miss him. I have emotionally issues right now, but I have to go through because my kids depend on me. So when you go, and I think you're gonna agree with me, when you go through a tough time, one of the things that you need to find out is who depends on you, so
Yeah.
you can actually come out of that stage. So you can actually come out of that grievance. It's okay to grieve. There's a time for grievance. There's a time for crying. There's a time for joy. There's a time for everything the Bible says. But you have to get out. You have to get out of that stage. And in order for you to move forward, in order for you to have victory, in order to you to set things in the past, just leave them in the past. But at the same time, yes, you
Mm-hmm.
have to celebrate. You have to grieve. And like I said, John, I don't know, bro. Like, I mean, I'm just thinking about it. That's why it made me emotional when you start telling me about your mom and your dad and the things, the victories they got did in their lives, and you saw them and overcame, and overcoming like alcoholism, overcoming a lot of
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, I
Yeah,
don't think I would be. I don't think I'd be who I am today. And I'm going to say this not out of pride or out of like, I'm not trying to flex or anything, but I love serving people. I love, I am in the position I'm at not because I wanted to be a pastor or anything. I just love serving people. I love I love being in the house of God, and but knowing that I'm able to, I'm talking about my immediate like team, my department. Yeah, I can pour into them, but on a weekly basis, we're able to provide encouragement. We're able to provide hope, joy, a time of peace for people, even when we're helping them, corporately in a time of worship or whatever. And so those are things that were instilled in my dad and in me from my parents, and so when it comes to wanting to serve people, it's just no question for me. Like, does somebody need help? How can I help you? If me singing a song to you on a guitar and sing, if that's completely useless,
even buying lunch,
screw,
if you hey,
yeah, and do that for somebody. When you're in line at Pete's, well, coffee place out here is Pete's, or if you're at Starbucks, wherever you're at, or you're in line. When you're in line, buy someone's groceries. Do something that will bless someone, that will serve someone, because you just don't know the implications of like
you want to know something?
how deep it goes.
So
Yeah.
we were in. Sorry to cut you off. We
No.
we were at Pete's Coffee the other day. Me and Isabel, my second child,
Gotta think
and
about it.
let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm
Which
getting
number are they?
confused with number names. I'm confusing right now. Anyway, so we were at Pete's Coffee, and there I was getting Isabel and myself a coffee, and Isabel she was getting a hot chocolate, right?
Yeah.
And she asked for a
As she
pastry,
should
and
be. She shouldn't be having coffee.
I mean she tried one of my coffee.
Oh
cops
boy,
one day. Yeah, she did. Anyway, it was an accident. I left it on the counter, and anyway, long story. But
it happens.
there was a lady behind us, and she was carrying a pound of coffee beans,
Hmm.
and then the lady charged me for the worker, the Pete's coffee worker. She was charging me, and she charged me wrong. So I had to cut off again the line, and I had to apologize and say, "Excuse me, I'm sorry, I have to pay for this again." So
Hmm.
finally, she charged me, and I said, "Hey, by the way, charge me for this pound of coffee. It's gonna be on me." So I turned around to the lady and said, "It's on me now. I'm sorry to
Hmm.
cut you off." And she's like, she was speechless. She didn't know what to say. All of a sudden, she turned to Isabel and say, "Your dad is a good man. You should
Hmm.
actually learn from that." And I was like, and after that, I didn't. We didn't say anything after that. But it just stuck in my heart to say, I wanna bless you. I want to bless you the way I've been blessed in many occasions, right?
Yeah.
So I literally pay for this lady's $28 pound of coffee beans, and like I said, you're gonna say, "But dude, you don't have a job. How you gonna actually just start blessing people when you need to bless yourself?" Like, well, I've been blessed. I am
Hmm.
blessed, and the only way to bless people and to be blessed, if you want to just know the secret to be blessed, is to bless other one,
Bless others.
other
Yep.
people. So yeah, just being servant. I think this subject of servanthood, it's been good for the whole hour technically, because we don't know how to serve, we know how to receive
Hmm.
only. And that's a very sad thing to say, that society in these days, it's only lives to receive, only lives to get things, me and me. But they're not ready to say, how can I help you, how can I give my time, how can I just make you feel comfortable, make you go through this tough season of your life, and make you feel a little bit of peace. All right.
Hmm.
It's not Christmas, by the way. We're in March now, but I think we associate the Christmas time and seasons with certain things. It's like, oh, Christmas is the time of giving. This is the only time we're gonna give. No, this is a whole year thing that you need to
Yeah.
start thinking, to start giving, to start serving, to start helping others. And let me just put it this way, John, before you say something: the only way to get through your pain and to get off your pain is when you serve others,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
now you're gonna start seeing that it's like, oh man, I didn't know. I mean, I'm going through a tough time, but my goodness, this lady, she doesn't have any job, and she has three kids, and she has no food, and now she goes to, she has to get stamps so she can get support from the government. Dude, like, God is opening your eyes at that point. It's like, see, you're not going. You're gonna be
Yeah.
okay. You're gonna be
No,
okay.
what you said makes no sense whatsoever. And hold on. Where's
What
my
are you doing,
camera?
John?
I don't know. It said it got
The
unplugged. Hold
battery.
on. No, no, no. No, the battery's good. I thought the battery's good. Hold on, let me just switch to my other camera.
And
Sorry,
we gotta have
guys.
a little commercial right here.
I have another camera plugged in, thankfully. Oh, let me just.
I think the format for that club, for the time being right now, it's gonna be this way.
Yeah,
Because yeah, it's
it's
just gonna
easy.
be, it's easier. It's easier.
Okay, I think I'm back. Right?
No,
Where are we? No? Oh wait, here we go.
you go to settings. There you go. There you
And we're
are.
back. Okay.
Or you were saying?
What was I saying?
I was saying that, the only way to get off your pain and get through your pain is to serve others.
Oh yeah, and I was saying that makes absolutely no sense. Not in the sense of like you don't know what you're talking about. It just doesn't make any sense naturally for us to give when we are in a season of like
Lack.
loss or lack or whatever it is. And so that's probably the biggest
Controversy.
yeah, the biggest juxtaposition really is like how, and that it's a form of response really, and so yeah, you could be like, man, I don't have a job. I forget that lady and her beans. She's got money. You can
And you can
do
tell
that.
she had money. You can tell she had money.
Yeah,
But
like that
she
wasn't
was
an issue. Yeah.
no, that she appreciate the gesture of me just buying him because I had to cut it off again because the lady who was charging me for my stuff, she didn't charge me correctly. So I felt in my heart that I had to kind of like I didn't have to. I totally didn't have to. I just
No.
wanted to. I wanted to.
But it's twofold. You bless this lady, and then one of your daughters sees you giving and sees the example of serving somebody else and
Yeah.
how much joy it brought them. Maybe you'll never ever see them again, but in that one example is something that may forever be ingrained in your daughter's mind, in your
Mine.
daughter's
Yeah.
heart. And so and that's and that's something that we want to just make super clear about today in this episode is it's going back to that verse that I quoted earlier. This is my commandment, says God, says Jesus, that you love one another as I've loved you. And the base of it all, especially if you're trying to get married and you're trying to have a family and you're trying to be in a relationship, whatever it
Yeah.
is, the basis of it all is love. And if you don't love well, if you don't serve well,
Yep.
it's not going to last. And so that's it.
What's the impact of your what's the impact of your life? How heavy your life is? How heavy and not I'm not saying it heavy in the way that of your pain. I mean the heavy impact of your life, the legacy that you're gonna let just leave in this earth because we just have a lifetime that is borrowed by God and He's allowing us to do this. Even if you're an agnostic, if you don't believe in God, if you don't believe in a creator, let me just put it this way: the Bible says that earths and the creation count the goodness of God. So if you want if you want evidence of how God is or who God is, just stay outside. Just go in the natural. Who's gonna create? Who has a creative mind to make mountains? Who has a creative life, a mind to create water, to sustain?
Who would let it snow in California?
Who,
I mean, come
yeah.
on.
I mean, global warming. That's for sure. And God is
Yeah.
allowing it. But
There's that.
in all
Yes.
reality, we have no excuses to say God is not real. God is not real. God is real. Yes. And guess what? Life is real too. So if you put those two together and they said, okay, I'm going through something right now, but God is telling me, trust me, trust me. Again, we're going back to this. One thing is loving God, but one thing is to trust God. And when you have trust issues with others, what makes you think you're gonna have a trust relationship with God when you don't allow God to work in your life? And then the only way to make it work in your life is to let you go through test. He's gonna test your
Yeah.
faith. He's gonna test your love for him. It's like, you love me? Okay, let me test it. Let me see how devoted you are, how deeply you love me. I'm sorry. I'd rather actually just love him and serve him than actually just give up in life because I have too much for to live for.
Yeah. And
And
guess what? He's gonna teach you how to serve, and then he's gonna put you in positions of
serving.
now do what you've been learned. Do what you learned and teach others how to serve.
Love me this
So
way. Do you
be
see that
prepared for
lady right
that.
there that you didn't like? Yeah, just go to her. Go to her. I'm gonna give a testimony really quick.
Yeah.
I literally when I gave that pound of coffee, somebody at church gave me an envelope
Oh my gosh.
and it was $1,000 in it.
Get out of here.
And I didn't see it. I was just like, oh, thank you. Because we're having a baby and we have so many people just giving us like, oh, gift cards right here. I
Come
came
on,
home.
man.
I came home and I told Maggie, like, oh, this lady gave me this, right? And she's like, no, she put it on the side, right? She didn't even see
Yeah.
it. And I was like, and the next day I saw it right next on her nightstand, and he's like, babe, like you're leaving this right here. Let me just open it. And I opened it, and it was a check for $1,000. And I was like,
That's
and she's like, no, you serious? Like you lying? That's what Maggie said. You're lying. I was like, no, look at it. So I show her the amount, and I went to this lady the next Sunday, and I said, you don't know what you did,
yeah.
but I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank you for your heart. And she's like, she just hugged me. She gave me a hug, and she told me, I am here to bless you because you blessed me at some point. I was like, dang.
Sheesh.
So if you, I get,
That's where we need to end it right there. Come on, bro. That's I mean, yeah, if you don't believe it or not, hey, if you have questions, reach out to me, Pablo. Well, yeah, we can help you. We can help you in that area, but God's real, God's good.
that
And
is good.
again, that's what we're here for. We're gonna share our experiences. We're gonna share what we know
Yep.
works for us on this Dad's Club podcast, episode 6. Thank you. Is it all right if we wrap this up? I mean,
Yeah, let's wrap it up. But just,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, no, thank you guys for joining us. Pablo, congratulations. Two
Thank you, brother.
more babies in your house, another set of identical ones. We were literally just talking before we hit record. They're having issues trying to figure out who is who. And that's one of the issues you have with
Now this set
identical
of twins, yeah, the identical twins. Like my first set of twins was identical, and it's still identical, but we had the differences. Like one of them had a Mongolian bruise, which is actually kind of like a birthmark right here,
Yeah.
and we could tell that, oh, this is Isabel, oh, this is Juliana. Now these two have nothing. They're just like a carbon copy of each other. And I was like, okay. And then one of the nurses was so kind to say, oh, okay, I'm just in the umbilical cord. I'm gonna put one clip on baby A, which is Abigail, and then the other one I'm gonna put two clips on baby B, which is Elizabeth. And then now that's the way you stay for 2 weeks. Well, that umbilical cord is gone.
It's
So my
gone now.
wife had an idea. I was like, you know what? Let me put a permanent marker on one of the girls' nails, toenails. And that's the way we can actually say, oh, this is Abigail. But you can see a little bit, just a little bit. I can see Abigail a little bit more robust, chunky. Her body's a little bit more firm than Elizabeth. Elizabeth's a
Yeah.
little smaller, but tiny, very tiny.
Yeah.
It's just like, but yeah, in the middle of the night, you're not gonna recognize any of them. It was like, oh, whose baby is this? It's like, I don't
Well,
know.
when you're half asleep, yeah, it doesn't matter. Just get them to stop crying.
Here's a pacifier.
Brother, bless you, brother. Bless you, and bless everybody who's watching us. Thank you again for supporting us, for jumping on and watching these episodes. Again, our heart and intention is for somebody to grab some tools from this, how to apply it to their life.
Yeah.
And again, if you have questions, please leave it in the chat. Leave it in the chat. We check them. We check them, and we are so faithful to answer any questions that you may have. And again, if we don't have answers to something, we're gonna find somebody who does, and we're gonna have them give you the answer, because that's what this is about. We want to just help
don't
dads
Don't make things up. That's all it is.
reinvent the wheel. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so go ahead.
No, and I just want to say thank you for, sticking with us. It's just simply a tough season for me right now, but at the same time, it's like not tough in the sense that about my job and stuff like that. Tough is like I the lack of sleep. It's for sure like the issue
Team
with
no
the lack of
sleep.
sleep. Yeah, but we now we found a way. I found a way to make sure me and John we're gonna continue doing the podcast, and it's up to John. I have time available in my hands, so yeah, it's just gonna be like for a video conference from just for a little bit, for a little while, and we're just gonna go back to the original format recording with cameras and stuff like that. This is just a little provisional way to say hey, let's continue. Let's keep going with this. Let's keep going with the momentum as well because we have some momentum. I don't want to kill that momentum, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna try to upload the video as soon as possible. As soon as this is done, I'm gonna try to go into the computer and upload it as soon as possible. Now, next week we're gonna go back to a regular schedule, hopefully, and we're probably gonna I'm gonna ask John to commit to record maybe Saturday again, and then let's just keep going for the next week. But thank you so much. Thank you all so much for the support. Thank you, John, for
Thank
Jamie
you.
too.
Thank you, StreamYard.
Thank you,
Unofficially.
StreamYard. Officially, we are officially StreamYard now. And if you don't know what StreamYard is, well, I don't have the code, so you can have a discount, like nothing. It's
We
like
don't have that yet. We will
no,
eventually.
we actually got a discount from another podcast anyway. But thank you so much. Yeah, StreamYard, you're making it really really easy for me. And I don't like this light, so I'm gonna probably get. I it seems like I'm hot. I mean, it's hot over here because the babies have to be in a. It's a 71, 72 degrees in my house right now, and I have the sweater right now. This is the coolest room in the house, so I'm okay right here.
So it
But
is kind of a accurate representation of your body
yeah,
heat.
I am going through something right
I'm
now.
sweating under this beanie. You don't see it, but he's drenched under there.
You lose the time that you have. I didn't even know what day is. I'll be honest with you. It's just simply, hey, you gotta live. It's like, oh, it's another day. Thank God we have another day in our hands. But yeah, I'm gonna change the light right here. So I'll set it up a little bit better next time. But for now, we need to get this out for real.
Yes.
For
All
real.
right.
But all right, brother. But thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Whoever's listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. And don't forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification button, hit the like button, and support the channel and spread the word. What else can we say, John?
All
Thank you, bro.
thems. Bye.
All right. Thank you all. Appreciate you. Bye bye.